Good morning, students, and welcome to Unibek Group of Schools. My name is Emmanuel. Today we have basic technology on the topic materials and their common uses. In the previous class, we discussed the properties of materials. Now, this is a continuation of it, materials and their common uses. Those materials we discussed in the previous class, we are going to know their uses. I will start from, before I proceed, I would like to highlight on a specific objective. At the end of the teaching, the student should be able to state some common uses of wood. Number 2, explain specific uses of ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. Number 3, state some common uses of the following: ceramics, plastics, and rubber. Now let's start with wood. Now, in the previous class we discussed wood and the types of wood, which is hardwood and softwood, and with examples. Now, we are going to discuss the uses. Number 1, use of wood. Uses of wood. Number 1, wood, it is used for manufacturing, it's used for furniture, rather, it's used for furniture making. Examples of the furniture making, we have the chairs, we have the bed, we have the table and the wardrobe, and even the book shelf in our classroom. They are all wood products. Like I said, it is used for furniture making. For example, chairs, beds, table, wardrobe, and our book shelves. They are the words, the furniture, under furniture making. Number 2, use of wood. It is used in building construction. Wood is used in building construction. For example, take a look at the building. You see the roofing of our house is the product of wood. Now you look at the door and the windows. Some building, the makers of this, look at the doors, the product of wood. Even the windows, they are all product of what? Wood. Now number 3, use of wood. We have musical instruments. Some part of musical instruments, such as drum, guitar, piano, and flute, all under what? Use of what? Wood. Musical instruments. Now, we'll go to number 4. If you take a look in our various villages, you see that most bridges in our villages are made up of what? Wood. Our local bridge in the village, where there is flood and you see local construction, they use wood to construct bridge. They are all product of what? Use of wood. Now number 3, some sport equipment are made up of what? Wood. Sport equipment. What are those sport equipment? 1, we have table tennis. Even in our school here, we have table tennis. They are all product of wood. We use wood to construct table tennis and bat and tables. They are under what? Sports equipment. Wood can be used to construct sports equipment. Alright, number 6, under wood we have paper making. Yes, wood is useful for paper making. For example, our books we use is made up of wood. Our textbooks, our newspapers, and magazines, they are all products of what? Wood. Wood is used to construct magazines, paper, and as mentioned above. Alright, number 7, we have heels and soles of our shoes. If you take a look, some shoes, you see the heel, you see it's made up of what? Wood. Yes, it's made up of wood. Alright, Without wasting time, I will go to the next one, the use of metal. Uses of metal. Use of metals. For our previous class, we know all metal is all about, and various classes of metals, which we classify as ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. And as mentioned in the previous class, example of the ferrous metal, we have wrought iron, we have cast iron, we have the steel, and the stainless steel. They are under what? Ferrous metal and non-ferrous metals. We have the aluminium, we have the copper, and we have the brass and bronze. They are under what? Non-ferrous what? Metal. Now we are going to take a look at their what? Uses. As mentioned, the wrought iron. The wrought iron is versatile for making engine block. If you open the bonnet of any vehicle, you see that the engine block is made up of what? Iron. And the type of iron is made up of is what? Wrought iron. Yes, it's used in making a what? Engine block of a vehicle. And if you go to our workshop, you will see vise. That vise is made up of what? Wrought iron. Yes, it's used to tight when cutting an object. Now we have the crane hook. If you see crane, look at the hook. You see that it's made up of what? Wrought iron. It's used to lift any object, any heavy object, to clip an object and lift it up. So they are under what? Wrought iron. And even chairs we use, they are made up of what? Metals, and it's wrought iron. Now number 2, we have the mid steel. It's also a ferrous metal. From our specific objective, you see the uses of ferrous. I specify it, ferrous and non-ferrous. What I'm stating now is the ferrous metals, which I mentioned before as wrought iron, which is used in making car engine block, the vise, the crane hook, and the chairs. Now we have another one. We have the steel. Steel is used for making of knot and bolts. Yes, knot and bolts. The other one, steel. Alright, we have the next one, the cast iron, which is example of the what? The ferrous metals. The cast iron. What are the uses of the cast iron? Number 1, we have the brake drums. Cast iron is also used in making machines handle. Any machine handle is made up of what? Cast iron. And gear wheels. They are under what? Cast iron. Now we'll take a look at the stainless steel. Stainless steel under ferrous metals. We have the stainless steel, and the stainless steel is used for making automotive exhaust system, and hoses. If you see any vehicle, take a look at the exhaust. You see it's made up of what? Stainless. Yes, made up of what? Stainless. It's a metal. You use metal to construct the exhaust of a car. Alright, let's go to non-ferrous metal. I can have it in my specific objective. Non-ferrous metal. We have it as aluminium. Aluminium alloy is used for making aircraft. If you see our aircraft today, the body is made up of what? Aluminium. They are the use of what? Metals. They're the use of metals. And the next one we have copper. Copper. What's the use of copper? Copper is used in making electrical cable. Yes, it's used in making our what? Electrical what? Cable. The next one is brass. The brass is used for making musical instruments. Brass is used in making musical instruments. Example, the trumpet. The trumpet is an example of brass. Anywhere I see trumpet, it's made up of what? Brass. And it's under non-ferrous what? Metal. Like I said, they are non-magnetic. Alright, let's go to use of ceramics. Uses of ceramics. Use of ceramics. We have all known what ceramics is all about in our previous class. know the product of ceramics, and today we are going to discuss the uses. Number one, ceramics are used for making floor tiles. For example, our floor tile is an example of ceramics. Yes, it's used to make floor tiles, and used also in building construction. Yes, ceramics is used in building construction. And number two, it is used for making brake disc for vehicle. If you check our vehicle, check the brake disc, you see that ceramic is used to make brake disc. Alright, let's go to the next example, the use of ceramics. Some electric sockets like fuse and switch, they are operated of what? Ceramics. Some of the electric sockets, if you see our fuse and the switch, they are all ceramic products. Now number five, ceramic are used in water plumbing systems such as taps. Our taps today in the plumbing system is made up of what? Ceramics. You talk of connector, you talk of hoses, they are used of what? Ceramic products. Alright, number one use of one of the properties we have here is plastic. The use of plastic. Use of plastic. Use of plastic. I discussed plastic before. The type of plastic. We have thermoplastic and thermosetting. Having known the meaning, now the uses. Number one, we talk about many of our storage tanks. Our storage tanks is made up of what? Plastic. For example, our GP tank in our house, various houses, is example of what? Plastic. Yes, example of use of what? Plastic. Our storage tank, example GP tank. Alright, another example, plastic. Most electrical switch sockets, bulbs are made up of what? Plastic. If you check our electric switch socket, just touch it, you see it. It's example of what? Plastic. Use of what? Plastic. Alright, the next one, we have some tables in our home. Some tables, chairs, and casing, they are made up of what? Plastic. I will not go deep on this. I will go to the next one. We talk of rubber, as we said before, use of rubber. We have the next one, uses of rubber. Alright, we explained this before in our previous class, and now we have to discuss briefly the uses. Rubber is used in making tire. Check our car, look at the tire, they are product of what? Rubber. Any vehicle, whatever, check the tire, you touch it, you see it's a product of what? Rubber, because they are elastic. Rubber is elastic. It's not like plastic, it's inelastic. Rubber is elastic in nature. So if you check off, another example is a hand glove. Sometimes you use rubber to construct hand glove. Some of our hand glove, even the one they use in the hospital today, is a product of what? Rubber. The next one we have is balloon. Even our ball, the one we play, the balloon, they are all product of what? Plastic. Alright, without wasting time, I will go to the class activities. The class activities are here. You just fill in the gap, the correct answers. Number one, textbooks, newspaper, magazines, and exercise books are produced from dash. From those materials, you pick the correct answers. Any one that is correct, you fix it here as the answer. Number 2, metals can be classified as dash and dash. As we discussed in our class, we mentioned them. You can be able to identify the classes of what? Metals. Then number 3, dash are used as insulator in ovens and furnaces. Dash are used as insulators in ovens and furnaces. In the properties, you know the one suits for these questions, you put the answer there. Just fill in the dash. Alright, number 4, vehicle tires are manufactured from dash materials. What do you use to manufacture vehicle tire? If you know the answer, put it here. Just fill in the dash for me. Number 5, that is used to make radiator in vehicle. What do you use to make radiator in vehicle? If you know the answer here, you fix it. Alright, that's the classwork. Now we have assignment. Assignment, state 5 difference between ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. At this junction, I will stop. See you in the next class. Thank you.